Hey, what's up guys? I'm Brian. This is the Whisper Status 74 channel. I want to welcome you to this channel, to this community, and this is what this channel really is all about. Before I start the video, it is a community. Quickly before we start, I want to thank three people. I want to thank Funk T Official, who's joined the channel recently, who's had many displays that were defective, has a wealth of knowledge in returning them and finding displays, knows a lot about them. Also, Review the Tube. Him and I have talked the last few days quite a bit. He's going back through all the videos. And then the last shout is to Anthony Zena, who has also been very helpful in the comments. Those three people recently, among many others of you that I've spoken to almost on a daily basis, my UK crew, Christopher Charles, Ian Stevenson, a lot of you guys I talk to all the time, those three guys have been in the comments in the most civil way. And I don't mean they disagree or agree, they just are objective, and I just really appreciate that help from the community, as it is a community. This channel is not me, this channel is us, and I'm very proud that you guys are part of it. Which is what brings me to the topic of today's video, which is a racy one, OLED. Whether it's LG OLED, Sony OLED, Panasonic OLED, or now the Hisense OLEDs. And the reason why I want to talk about them is some of you have joined the channel in the last few videos. And the last few videos, there was one of severe burn-in at a Target, which was the worst burn-in I've ever seen. There was also an OLED test the other day at my friend Jeremy's house after 9 months of use. I also have a video that's going to release any day that's also in the Magnolia section at a Best Buy, where the highest end OLEDs at about $15,000 have a good deal of burn-in as well. Haven't released that one yet, as I want to have some clarity and some transparency on how I feel about OLED. If you jumped in during the Target video, I think a lot of you think that I'm against it and don't like it. I also did a video not long ago about why I don't have one. You can go back and watch that one. It's rather long. This video is really more about transparency, what I truly think about it, and what I'm hoping to get out of this video, and I hope that you get out of this video between me and those of you that are part of the channel or new to the channel, is to jump in. If you have severe burn-in or you've had burn-in, I've talked to a few of you guys today, go in the comments and share your story, but deliver it in a civilized way. I'm not interested in hearing how you hate something or something is garbage or trash. Nothing on the channel that we talk about is trash. I'm not into this other part of people saying other people are jealous and they dislike OLEDs because they're too expensive. People's finances are very, very personal, and it's a very private thing that I'm not interested in talking about either. I will never tell you that someone is jealous of OLED, they're too expensive. That is a very personal thing. I'm not interested in covering that or even talking about it. So if you can keep that stuff to a minimum, I will respond to you. I've responded to all the videos in the last few weeks. I'm pretty caught up. If I have not gotten back to you, please resubmit your question or hit me up on Instagram. But if I missed it, and if it's delivered in a positive way, I promise I'll get back to you. And if I missed it, I'm sorry. Resubmit it and I'll get back to you. The best part about the channel for me is responding to you guys in the comments. And us having disagreements is the best part of discussion. The best part of community and family is having disagreements, but productive disagreements that we all learn from. And I learn every single day from you guys, and we pick up information as we go. So like I said, the channel is not about me, it's about us as a community. Thank you for being part of it. Funk T Official, Anthony Zena, and Review the Tube, thank you so much for your help in the channel and really chipping in. It means a lot to me. Now, OLED, now that we've gotten that out of the way. Some of you have joined in and saw some severe burning, and you've piled in on that. That's why you don't have one. They're garbage, they're trash, they're terrible. And then you have the OLED test I did the other day, and then everybody jumps in and says that they're amazing. So quickly, what my thoughts, for me, or let's just go back to when they first launched, because they have changed quite a bit. They've been around for a long time. They're very similar to plasma, and the battle between OLED and LED almost completely mirrors plasma versus LCD. Plasma was very expensive, it was very beautiful, it was problematic with image retention and burn-in. It was also extremely expensive. It brought a lot of hate, and a lot of LCD people are tired to this day of hearing about the legendary Pioneer Elite, the Panasonic Plasma. Samsung's last Plasma was phenomenal. LCD people are just tired of hearing about it. And the LED people are very tired of hearing about OLED. And I get it. I completely understand it. And a lot of your points you make, I understand. When OLED first launched, it was ridiculously expensive. A small OLED cost twice as much as an LCD that was twice its size, or an LED that was twice its size. They were very, very pretty. They looked great. They were thin. They were minimalist in terms of their design. They were very dim with a very high input lag. And also, on top of being expensive, image retention was almost instantaneous, and burn-in was something that just, it happened a lot. It was also not really covered well by LG at the time. There was a lot of, hey, too bad, I don't know what you're talking about. That left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and a lot of people still think of that to this day as being common. They still refer to those articles and the stigma that went with OLED 5-6 years ago. In the last few years, their input lag is among the best. They're also bright. I don't know if I mentioned them being very dim. They were dim initially, especially in comparison to LED. Now they are very bright. They're plenty bright. For me, they're bright for a bright room. They're fine. They're amazing in dark room. I love them. I think they're beautiful. They're my favorite picture quality in terms of overall picture quality, especially for movies and shows and streaming, things of that nature. I think that they're gorgeous. They are not perfect. Now, before we get into anything else, I'm going to just say this. There is no perfect display. A lot of you were talking about micro LED. Guys, it won't be perfect either. It will have inherent flaws. As long as it's being made by someone and handled by more than one person, shipped to your house, there will be issues with them. There will be defects with them. OLEDs are not the most effective display in regards to burn-in that I hear in the channel. Now, I know a lot of you guys, and I do respect this, that you hear a friend of a friend had this and people you know had that. Well, here in the channel, you guys get to read those comments every day. And then you can go through the comments and you can decipher what you see is the most effective display going. It's not an OLED. It's not burn-in. Typically, they're LEDs in regards to defects. So I'm just saying that it's not as rampant. It's not a plague like you think. It's come a long way. Now, the reason I also am showing you extreme burn-in, and I will show you that Best Buy video tomorrow, but I wanted this transparency before I launched it. I have to show you both sides of it. I showed you some banding from the side of my buddy Jeremy's. It's not perfect. It's very clean in regards to its burn-in and its retention, but its screen uniformity is not perfect. They don't make them perfect. The TV I have here is not perfect. I have yet to see a perfect display. Now, I can almost prove that to you in a way is if you look at artthings.com and you look at all the displays that those guys review, nearly every display, when you get into screen uniformity, whether it's OLEDs or the highest end, so people that think that they're for one or the other, read that gray uniformity. Nearly every single display that they buy has some kind of clouding or dirty screen effect. They can say minimal screen effect, but very rarely do they say it's perfect. OLED is no different. Now, the other part of OLED that we constantly hear is babysitting. I've done videos on this in the past as well. A lot of you guys feel you shouldn't have to babysit such a high-end piece of equipment. They're very expensive. For the money, I shouldn't have to babysit it. And I don't disagree. The analogy I will give you, though, is that if you're talking about cars, my wife's car, I can't put regular gas in it. I can't drive it the same way I drive my Wrangler. That's not a knock on that car. That car needs specific fuel. It needs more maintenance than my Jeep. I can't expect my Jeep to run like her car. So if you want anything high-end, if you want an exotic car, I'm not saying that her car is exotic, but if you want to have a Lamborghini, that's not your daily driver. Those things cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can't drive them every day. Now, OLED, that comparison doesn't really hold up. However, there is maintenance even in your Audis, your Mercedes, your BMWs. You need to have a special fuel. They need more maintenance. My car, bring it to Jiffy Lube, it's all set. Put regular gas in it, it'll run all day. So there is certain precautions you have to take. Any high-end stereo equipment, there's certain things you have to monitor to make sure that they don't break down. OLEDs are very much the same way. I know you guys want to be able to spend, if I spend $5,000 to never worry about it. But guys, think about that in terms of consumer products. There's very few things where you spend money and you're all set. You don't require any maintenance. They're just going to be fine. Yeah, I bought a Lamborghini for $200,000. It should be fine. Things don't break down constantly. So whether that analogy holds water for you, that's how I look at it. Every time I go to put gas in my wife's Mercedes, I pause and go, oh crap, I have to put this other gas in it. So when you have an OLED in your home, yes, you do need to have a screensaver. You do need to make sure that you don't have content running 24 hours a day. I don't leave any of my TVs on all day. My plasma, my LED, my projectors don't run all day. If you want something that you can run all day, I suggest that you stay away from anything high-end. I don't think you should run anything all day long. I wouldn't buy an open box from a store that's been running for 12 hours. So that's the first thing I'm going to say about my comparison about babysitting. Yes, it's an added part that isn't great. It's an added, oh my God, moment. With plasma, you better believe when I first got my plasma, when I would leave the house, there were plenty of moments where I was like, oh, and I would make a phone call and no one would be home and I would see the kids had left something on. It's not something I recommend if it's your only display. So let's start with that. First thing, if you're somebody that has one TV in your house, it's not that big a deal these days. Most kids will stream. Most of us have iPads everywhere. But if it's your main display, it's just you, your wife, your husband, your partner, your roommates, flatmates, whatever you got going on, especially with children, I would suggest you don't get an OLED. Not only is it going to be miserable for you having to police it, it's going to be miserable for the rest of the people in your house when you're screaming at them from across the room if you left it on too long. It's going to be, that's where it turns into a headache. If you can control it and put the controls in place, it's going to be easy. Screensavers are on, you're good to go, don't worry about it. But if you're having to worry about the babysitter, your poor kids that are watching Nickelodeon or the Disney Channel and it's burned in the corner, or they're running a Nintendo Switch menu all day long, it's guaranteed going to burn in. Now, as far as burn-in, does it happen? Absolutely. That's why I show it to you. When it happens, is it permanent? Absolutely, it is permanent. Image retention is not permanent. However, as I will show you in the video tomorrow, their loops in the store, the LG loops, by the way, Sony OLEDs are LG panels, they will burn in as well. Same with your Panasonic panels, they will burn in as well. Panasonic might have some extra processing and maintenance that it does on its own. If some people in the UK have told me, I can't confirm that. They will burn in as well if they're not taken care of. So the demo in the Best Buy, the challenge is it's on its max peak brightness, even though it's not an HDR demo. It's running in 3-minute, 4-minute intervals. When something on the screen hits super bright, there's a second of image retention, it cycles off. Before that image can dissipate, it hits it again and again and again for 9 hours for 7 days a week. That's why you see it there. Now, the Sony OLEDs I have looked at, I have not seen burn in them. What's interesting is their demos are probably half as bright. Their panels aren't as bright either, but they just don't have their demos as bright, and I'm sure that's on purpose. So to have an LG OLED Master Series at $15,000 having burn-in, you're going to see that in the video tomorrow. But I have to give you some narrative behind it. Nothing I do on the channel or I want from you guys on the channel is hate-filled or trash or it's garbage. It'll never happen. I won't have the channel. I have no desire to put anybody down or their tech down. I can tell you that I don't prefer it or I wouldn't purchase it. But none of the stuff that we cover here is garbage. So, back to the burn-in with babysitting. Yes, there's extra care that needs to be maintained. Right here, I'm in a dedicated little home theater. A lot of you guys have these. It's perfect for that. It's only up to you and maybe your wife or husband or partners to just control it. But if you're a young person, you have 3 or 4 roommates, they're going to come home feeling pretty good. They're going to fire up some Netflix. They're going to fall asleep with the menu on. That's a recipe for disaster. I can't guarantee you that they're going to be okay. Some of you guys in the comments will ask me, do I recommend OLED? And then you'll say, can you kind of guarantee me that it's not going to burn in? I can't guarantee you that if you buy a motorcycle, you're not going to get killed on it. I can't guarantee that, you can wear your helmet, you can drive safe, someone might hit you. I can't guarantee that the bike won't explode. I can only guarantee you that you can maintain it and do the best you can. If that OLED, let's go back, I can't guarantee, but if that OLED burns in, like many of you were saying, so quickly back to the video that I did yesterday, 9 months. A lot of you guys in the comments have said that's not enough time. Well, I disagree, because there's many of you in the comments that are telling me that your burn-in is happening in 2 days, or 3 months, or 2 months. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that if your burn-in happens that quickly, if it happens in one showing, that's a defective panel. Get on the phone, have it replaced. If you are also a streamer, Twitch, you play a game 12 hours a day, you play 5 days a week, as my buddy Funk T Official had stated, it's not for you. Actually, probably LEDs aren't for you either. You should be rocking a monitor for the fastest response time and low latency. But an OLED wouldn't be for you. That is way too much of the same title, way too much Fortnite or whatever you have. That will burn in as well. They are not designed for that. Are they designed for gaming? Of course. They can be used for gaming. I have plenty of people I know that game on them constantly. Do I recommend gaming on them to play Call of Duty or Battlefield or Destiny, something with a really static HUD? I don't recommend you play the same game or the same Madden or FIFA over and over and over. Then they're not for you. But that is a small percentage of you guys. Now, if you want to have the flexibility to do that, then the answer is very simple. They're not for you. To say they're not for gamers, I don't agree. And that's what we're here to talk about. My point is, I love them. I don't have them as they're not affordable in terms of them being big enough. I want 75 and up. To me, they're just not worth $8,000 or $9,000 or $15,000 at 77 inches. But I love the picture quality. I have absolutely no fear of burn-in whatsoever. I have a plasma upstairs. Now, I will say they are probably more prone to burn-in than plasmas, simply because they're 5 times as bright. Plasmas back in the day were not bright at all. OLEDs, whether you think they're dim or not, they're pretty bright, even in comparison to LCDs at the time. HDR, everything is up high. Back to settings really quickly as we're talking about HDR. I suggest all of you guys with any of your TVs that are struggling with picture quality, in your settings, have an HDR setting for your HDR content. Have a TV setting for your cable TV, because you don't need your backlight at max for CBS or for your sports. It's not that it's going to burn in. It's just the picture quality is not going to look great at max peak brightness to watch something that's mastered at 720p or 1080i. So what I'm saying to you is, with OLED, in order to help that burn in or that image retention, is lower your backlight when watching regular content. The backlight on my PC for my 900E is 10. And it's as bright as when it's at max for HDR. It needs to be at max to help HDR, but it doesn't need to be that way. I don't prefer it that way. So having the backlight down is not a precaution that's going to hurt picture quality. Because when you put your HDR content in, you can either switch inputs to your HDR profile, or a lot of the settings you've brought down will automatically kick in with your gamma. Things of that nature will definitely help you in that regard. But this video is really about telling you my stance on OLED and how I feel about it. The reason I don't have it is they're just not big enough for me, and they're not cost effective at this point. I'm looking for more bang for the buck. I know whatever TV I buy is going to last me a few years, not 10 years. And that's primarily because I have a YouTube channel. If I was just doing my thing, I probably would have had one and I'd be all set for a while. But I want to tell you that personally, I enjoy them. Now, again, are they perfect? They are not. They have screen uniformity issues like any other panel. There is black crush. That is a fact of life. It can crush small details, like you're hearing with the Samsung QLEDs, the Q9FN, and some of those things. Is that important to you? You know, it all depends on what you want. You have to know what it is you like. We're going back into picture quality. You've been hearing how amazing they are. Well, if you don't like that type of picture quality, then it's not for you. But the hate that goes with this topic and the misinformation that goes with this topic, everyone is saying that they're terrible, they're garbage, they're going to degrade, they're going to last you 3 years and they're going to rot. It's not, to me, because they're organic, they're going to have an expiration date. I've yet to see it myself. I will be doing a video in a few weeks of a A1E and an older OLED to check those to see how they look. Are they going to last forever? No, none of them do. Nothing lasts forever in any of our appliances these days. We're not in the Maytag timeline anymore where your wash machines last 10, 15 years. I love them. I think they're great. But I understand your guys' point. If that's too much maintenance for you to worry about, I have nothing against you saying that, because who needs more maintenance? Who needs more to do in their house? Especially if you have kids or you're busy with your career and you're running around. Nobody needs more maintenance. I'm just telling you that maintenance is required. Some of you have bought them and said to me, to hell with it, I'm not going to maintain it at all. I'm just going to see what happens. Go ahead. Go ahead. If you're having problems with them, I will tell you that once your window is closed, you're done with the retailer. As far as Amazon, Best Buy, you're pretty much done with them once your window is closed. They will not really go back with you unless you get a Geek Squad, which is very expensive, or you go through a Costco, which is very reasonable. Dealing with the manufacturer, I've heard great things from LG. I've heard horror stories from LG. You have about a year, maybe 2 years with them, and I'm not sure where they are in terms of you offering to repair them. They're very expensive to repair. But just take care. If you're buying something high-end, like I said, you're buying a nice Mercedes, an Audi, one of those higher-end vehicles. You're buying an exotic vehicle. Are you going to really want to beat the hell out of it? Just because you spent the money and you feel that you can, I'm not sure that's the best course of action. So for many of you, I want to hear your thoughts with your OLEDs experience. Are you afraid of them? Are you leery of them? Have you heard horror stories from somebody in your life, not just what you've read? I'm going to be doing more videos on Jeremy's OLED, my buddy Steven's OLED, my own parents, their OLED's 2 years old. I did a video in Arizona. That's on the channel. They're clean. Now, these people do watch TV. They're a little bit older. They're not streaming on their iPads. They're literally flicking channels. A lot of news, a lot of tickers, a lot of ESPN, a lot of leaving Netflix up for a few minutes, as well as YouTube and Hulu. They're taking the bare minimum in terms of precautions. Now, I've put them in place, but I don't know how much they're following them. They leave them on here and there. It's not perfect. But for me, I'm a huge fan of them. They do have their negatives, being primarily, as we talked about, some screen uniformity issues in terms of banding. Jeremy's does have banding from the side. It's not visible during content. Now, how it shows up is in hot spots. He has two significant spots that I can see. I've showed him, he can't see it, which is great. You cannot see it during content, which is even more important. If I had that display, I wouldn't think twice about it. I would keep it. And 5% gray, 10% gray, you may want to check yours when you get them, and you tell me what you think. I don't suggest keeping displays with dead pixels ever. I don't suggest keeping displays that have bad screen uniformity where you can see banding during content. Even if it is red, I don't suggest you keep it. I suggest you send it back, because once that window is closed, it's closed. As far as them burning in instantaneously, like I said previously, that is a defective panel. Send it back. Try for another one. If it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, get rid of it, look for something else. If you're getting many defective panels in a row, I suggest you take a minute, take a few days, get your money back, and just catch your breath, and then go somewhere else. You'll be surprised at how many displays are out there. The choices are actually pretty minimal, which is going to be a topic for another video. We think there's a million choices. There isn't. What you have is LG, Sony, Panasonic, Hisense right now. You have, for OLED, by the way. What's good about OLEDs is you do have not a huge variation between their specs from year to year. You can be confident buying an OLED from a couple of years ago. I'd be confident buying an A1E or an AFE. I don't have to have the brand new ones, unless you want HDMI 2.1, which is new, and LG's, and I believe Sony's will have that as well, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's only LG. We'll see. If that's something you're looking for, you're going to have to get that one. But they do have pretty good corresponding numbers from year to year, and they're pretty affordable right now. The price has come down. Input lag is some of the lowest, they're awesome. Now, if you want a brighter display, if you want something that's 1,000+ nits, you're talking about your Samsungs and your Sonys and your now Quantum P series, then you know that's the picture for you. Don't let me or anybody else tell you that OLED is the best picture quality. And not if you like a more saturated, eye-popping image. If you like your Sony 930E, if you like that, wow, that, whoa, that's bright, then OLED's not for you. They're plenty bright, but if you like that image. Now for me, I love OLED, but I do love that brightness. I do love the wow factor I had with my Sony 940E and my KS9000s. I love that. I don't have that as much with my 900E. It's kind of in the middle. It's bright enough. I do have those moments. But my next display, I'm probably going to chase that peak brightness, but also at less money. So in closing, OLED is a luxury item in my opinion. They are very high-end, they are beautiful, they're elegant. They just need to be treated that way. Like you would treat any other high-end thing that you purchase, whether it's your stereo equipment, your car. If you're buying a high-end vehicle, do you just take your hockey bags, your lacrosse bags, and your kids' stuff and throw it in the back seat? No, you handle them with a little bit more care and a little bit more respect, especially considering the money you spent. Keep in mind, the money you spent didn't get you anything in terms of them being more formidable or able to stand up to you abusing them. I love them. I think they're the best picture quality. Now, everything else is catching up. I think they're all great, but I do like OLEDs a great deal. I'm just saying that on the channel, when you see me do a burn-in vid, that isn't a clickbait, hey, look at how crappy they are. It's never going to be that way here. You'll never catch me say that. You'll never catch me saying I hate anything or anything is trash. Back to the financial part. I'm not interested in people saying other people can't afford them. That's why they don't like them. That's a personal thing. I know plenty of people that are wealthy that will never spend that much on a TV. So I'm not interested in people's finances. Just tell me what you think in the channel, guys. I appreciate all of your comments. Please keep them as positive and as informative and as discussion-based as you can. I will respond to you. And look into responding to each other. I love seeing the disagreements and then seeing them work out 5 comments later. And sometimes we just agree to disagree. That's okay. To me, it's the best part about this community and the best part about us talking. OLED, it's great. I love it. It needs to be handled with a little bit of care. For many of you, is that too much care? That's up to you. I don't consider it babysitting. You might consider it babysitting, and that's your opinion. That's okay. I mean, it is babysitting in some ways, but to me it's not. So that's the video. OLED, tell me what you think. You'll see an OLED burn-in video from Magnolia. This is the narrative kind of accompanying that. And I'm dying to hear what you guys think. Please keep it as clean as possible. It is a very hot button topic for many of you. If you've had burn-in the past, please state why and what you did with it. Did you keep it? Did you buy another one? Did you go to something else? What did you go to? Do you want OLED? Are you waiting for MicroLED? And then those of you that are looking to get them or get back and forth in there, defend your product to others, tell them this is why you like it, and tell them your usage. Again, the two people that I would not recommend OLED to is single household, one TV, lots of people, lots of kids, and those of you that are on Twitch, those of you that are streaming the same game day in, day out, 5 hours, 12 hours, all day long, I don't recommend them for you. There are plenty of other avenues as far as monitors and TVs that people can use for that. OLED is not one of them. If you are a gamer, even a hardcore gamer, they're fine. Just vary your content. Don't watch the same thing and play the same thing over and over, and don't leave them on all day long. And change your settings for regular TV viewing and not running a ticker across it all day. I am Brian from Whisper Status 74. Thank you so much. These videos are getting longer and longer. I promise they will get shorter. I'm dying to hear your thoughts, what you think on OLED. Would you buy one? Do you want one? Have you had problems with them? Keep it clean, and I'll get back to all you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.